Good morning, you guys. Welcome back. I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lions TV, and in today's News Daily video, I'm going to focus on only one story. Reports came up from Germany suggesting that Thomas Tuchel is strongly interested in re-signing a former player that he has worked with before. His name is Jonas Hofmann. He currently plays for Borussia Mönchengladbach, and in today's News Daily video, I'm going to break down what the news is. I'm going to break down who the player is, some key facts, and I'm going to end things by discussing what his signing could mean and whether this would be the right move to make. So, and without wasting any more time, let's break down the story coming out from Germany. Now, this story was reported by a builder from Germany, and they report that Thomas Tuchel has been closely monitoring a player that he's worked with previously at Mainz, and they report that there has been fresh contact made in the sense that it seems like with this story, there is genuine concrete interest from Tuchel in regards to signing Jonas Hofmann. Now, currently at Gladbach, their manager and Rose has announced that he will be signing for Borussia Dortmund come the end of the season, and naturally there's talks of so many Gladbach players that could be available in the market this summer. Gladbach do have many interesting players. I'm looking at players like Zakaria, who is approaching the final years of his contract. He's coming back from injury, and his form, contrary to what people say, hasn't been as bad as has been suggested. So the report ends by stating that Hofmann could only cost up to £14 million. Now, in today's market, not many players are around for that price. But now, the question is, who exactly is Jonas Hofmann? Now, this season, Jonas got his first caps for the German national team. So far this season, he has scored 6 goals. He has got 10 assists, and he tends to play more as a traditional wide winger. Now, throughout his career, he's played in a multitude of positions. He's played in behind the striker. He's played in midfield as well. So he becomes an interesting prospect in that sense due to the versatility on hand, due to his ability to fill so many different roles in the team. And, when you're a manager, you love players like this in your squad because as seasons do go on, sometimes you face circumstances that you didn't predict. Injuries can come your way, and sometimes you have to turn towards your squads, and the guys that can fulfill many different roles tend to be the guys to save your bacon. Now, quotes came up from Hofmann in previous articles, and he discussed the way he likes to play and the role he plays. As Hofmann said, "My position is playing out wide where I can help the team, and my strength is in making deep runs into spaces." So from those quotes, we have an idea on how Hofmann prefers to play his best football, and during this season at Gladbach, most times he's played more down the left-hand side and predominantly down the right-hand side as a more traditional right winger. So, based on that knowledge and based on what we've seen from Tuchel so far this season, it does point towards Hofmann being a potential option as a wing-back for next season. Now, of course, I released a big video a few days ago discussing Tuchel's plans in regards to, bringing back the 4-3-3. However, managers won't stick to one formation throughout the entirety of the season, so it's natural that because we have been playing in a back 3 system with wing backs, that will be an option for next season too. Because we don't play with traditional wingers, wingers in that sense that, have their starting positions very deep, that like to collect the ball from deep areas and just, run down the byline, putting in crosses, etc., etc. The only thing that comes close to that is the wing-back system that we are currently seeing, and due to Hofmann's ability to play it down the left-hand side, to play it down the right-hand side too, and considering the fact that players will be leaving this summer. I'm looking down that left-hand side, out of Emerson, Alonso, you'd assume Ben's going to stay. One of these guys will go, maybe both might go. And maybe in that sense, Hofmann could be the option for that side. And down the right-hand side, we know that Tuchel has plans for Hudson-Odoi to play more as a winger for next season. So this leaves us with Reece James as a wing-back, and I guess in that sense, a backup could be necessary for next season. Also, analysing the price that he's available for at 40 million, I think it kind of suggests that he would play more of a squad role in the team. Now, with Thomas Tuchel, he really isn't opposed to working with players that he's worked with previously. I mean, there's been so many examples. For example, Andre Schürrle. He made his name at Mainz, and when Tuchel signed for Dortmund, he couldn't get his first option in Kelarabi, who went to Leverkusen, but the second option was then to sign Andre Schürrle. We saw recently at Paris Saint-Germain, with him signing Choupo-Moting, who again was another player that he worked with previously at Mainz, and Jonas Hofmann is another example of A player that Tuchel has worked with our minds before, so it's no surprise that, when you know a player's game, their strengths, their weaknesses, and, maybe you've gone to a new club, I guess having that familiarity at times is something that you can rely upon as the season goes on. Now with Hofmann, he has a very professional nature. Outside of his footballing life, he seems to be a bit of a budding entrepreneur. Back in Germany, he actually owns 2 Subway franchises with alongside his friend who was a former police officer, and he's someone that has suffered injuries throughout his young career, but he's come through them now. He's showing what he's really about. He's maturing, and in football, it really is not a linear sport. You might show incredible form really young, and that form might die out as you get older. With a lot of players though, once they have the stability behind them, once they have that stability with their bodies as well, that's when they can really show their football and what they're about. And at Gladbach, Hofmann has become a very important player in their team. However, now that he's 28 years old, you might be considering, now that he's 28 years old, now that Danny Rose is going to be leaving for Dortmund too, Hofmann may be feeling, maybe this is the best time to leave Gladbach. I have the opportunity to play for a Premier League team, a team that plays in London, a team that is going to dramatically boost my wages every single month as well. A team that, even though I might not be playing week in, week out, I'll become part of a young, exciting squad that has that potential to win things in the future. And as I remain at Gladbach, how many opportunities will I get to, get that silverware once my career comes to an end? And now, to end this video, I have to discuss the potential ramifications at signing a Jonas Hofmann. I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions, you guys, and I think straight off the bat, regardless of the fact that Hofmann is a good player, he's an effective player that could most definitely produce something playing as a wing-back for us. But for me, should we continue to make that same mistake of, signing experienced squad options that, as we've seen with our recent history, don't end up doing too much for us, do become quite difficult to sell on in the end, and most importantly, they result in blocking the pathways of young players from the academy. Now, I'm sure that some of you guys are gonna roll your eyes and roll your eyes, Nini, it's always the academy this, academy that, but, I'm sorry, our academy isn't just any regular academy. Our academy is probably the best in the world. I mean, we're looking at the talents that we are consistently producing every single season. I mean, back during the 14-15 season when I saw a team dominated by your young Rubens, your Bogers, Solankis, the Christensens, Akis, etc., etc. At the time, I thought, surely we're not going to see a better youth team than this. And consistently, year on, year out, ever since that team showed what they're about, we've been producing players that some could argue have been even better on an individual level. We look at the level that these guys play at the minute they leave for their first loan spells. We're seeing these guys go straight to the top half of the championship table where, they're playing key parts for their loan teams. And that's something that's not going to stop anytime soon. The talent we already possess at the under 23 level, and most importantly, the under 18 level too. Players like your Websters, your Andersons. There's so much talent we possess. And now's an opportunity after seeing what Lampard did. After seeing how Lampard showed that, we can afford to trust these guys because they have the talent. And as we saw over this past 18 months, the academy guys have played the key part in helping us achieve the goals that we've set throughout the 2 seasons. So for me, making a signing in Hofmann, a guy that would be playing a backup role, makes no sense when you have a player, for example, like Livramento. And yeah, some people might say, Nini, if we're looking to, win the league for next season, we do need to rely upon experience, but I don't necessarily agree with that. Back last season when Lamptey left in January, a lot of people at the time were kind of like, okay, they accepted that, and unsurprisingly, because Lamptey is a fantastic player who's had a big rep for a long time, no surprise that when he gets consistent first team football at Brighton, he's now seen as one of the best young right backs across Europe right now, and he's just one of many examples that this club is constantly producing year in, year out. And I think right now is the time to really trust the model that we've set in using the academy to supplement positions in the team, and for positions that we don't have, turn to the market and sign the very best you can. There's so many benefits to relying upon the academy. For example, the player costs per year. When you're signing an academy guys that have no transfer value behind them, Effectively, you're only paying for their wages every single year, and when they're producing results on the pitch, where they're producing the goals, the assists, the big moments too, for a fee that is relatively nothing compared to your big money signings where you're paying for their big wages, where you're paying for their big salaries too. You're looking at new big signings who are ranging between 10 million to 20 million per year when it comes to their player costs. So, to facilitate other options in the team by turning towards the market, turning towards, guys that have matured now at 28, 27 to fill squad positions, for me, would not be the right move to make, considering the talent we already possess at this club and considering the talent that will keep continuing to come through and come through and come through and come through. It sets a pretty bad precedent. And I know I'm definitely thinking into the future, you guys, but I mean, I constantly do that all the time, and a lot of times I feel like I'm right in the end. It would set a bad precedent considering the talent that is already here at this club. And for me, I'm not gonna take the story super strong, even though I definitely believe there is a hint of factuality behind this. Tuchel, fresh contact with the player too. That's very specific wording. That's very specific reporting. But for me, when you have players like Livramento in the team already, having a fantastic season, showing all the qualities that you'd want as a right wing back, I think Tuchel should turn towards focusing on developing him, getting him ready, instead of turning towards the market for a utility player that, on average, when you look at these guys, they only last maybe a season maximum before getting moved on. So you guys, that were my thoughts and opinions in the end, but how do you feel about this Jonas Hofmann news? I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Line CV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos.